Remember back in the day when you taught me to live and I taught you to pray. We went in the battle together, no matter the weather, we never delayed. You gave me commands, I always obeyed. I never let you go astray. I never thought I'd see the day that you would come and just betray me. Sick of playing silly games, you never love me anyway. You should not have let me get away, cause now I'm moving for my prey. I'm bigger, I'm better, my mind is a weapon. I won't ever let up. You try to break me down and I'ma just get up. They ask me how I did it, I'ma just tell them I rose up. Survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I will arise. Staring at you from afar, analyzing every scar. Asking myself how we got here. Remember, this is who we are. I am not here for revenge. I did not come to make amends. Not here to repent for my sins. I just came here to win. I just came here to end. I just came here to fight. Show you everything you said I couldn't be. I became overnight. This for the blood, this is for the tears. This is for my pain and my plight. Two walked in, but only one of us is walking out of here tonight. I'm a survivor. For my life, coming back stronger. I will arise. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life, coming back stronger. I will arise.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to GT3 ANZ ESeries. I'm Liam Banks. Alongside me, as always, is Mitchell Patterson, performing double duties as co-commentator and producer tonight. We're live to you from perhaps the most famous circuit in the world, certainly one of the most revered. It's Spa-de-Francorchamps, and it's wonderful to be here in this with these magnificent cars.
This is my favourite track. My absolute favourite track. It is right up there with all of the best ones. You know, like a Nürburgring or Circuit de la Sarthe, which hosts 24 hours. It is my personal favourite. And instead of 3 20-minute races tonight, we have one super long 60-minute race, and we have limited fuel loads as well, which is going to bring pit stops into play. They are not mandatory, but they will need to pit at some point, which is going to spice our field up a little bit tonight.
It certainly is. I mean, Spa's such a classic track for endurance racing. Lots of endurance racing takes place at Spa throughout the year in a variety of categories. So we thought, why not take a bit of that, bring it into the ANZ E-Series and see what these drivers can do over a slightly longer race than what we've had so far. And I really enjoy races where there's pit strategy. There's a reason all the top leagues in the world have some sort of pit strategy that you need to abide by, and that's because it creates those deltas that allow for phenomenal racing. And I'm really keen to see if we see different drivers rise to the top with a bit more of a cerebral type of racing required to really excel in a format like this. So we're just joining with 10 minutes of practice to go. Taus Serrano is the fastest driver at the moment, being chased by James Christensen. They're two of our protagonists in the title fight, which is currently being led by Connor Nixon, who's yet to set a lap time in practice. So we're yet to see
just quickly bring up those standings on screen as well. We'll just move away from the racing for a second. And we can see that Connor Nixon is still currently leading. Tao is second, very hot on his heels, just 2 points behind. But Tao has had, despite being like the clear fastest driver, he hasn't really had a clean week, has he?
Yeah, he's certainly threatened to take the championship lead and run away with it, because he's had leading pace at every race, hasn't he? But, well, we're only 2 races in. But he's had a leading race pace in both races. But he hasn't been able to capitalise and turn that into the championship lead that perhaps he could have had he been able to keep it clean. And it's interesting, with only 6 races in the series after tonight, we're at the halfway mark. So if he doesn't convert tonight, the pace that he seems to have in practice, it's going to make it really interesting.
I think this is really going to favour Tao here, because it's those reverse grids that seem to trip him up a little bit. He's had a couple of unforced errors, but he's also gotten himself tangled up as well, trying to make his way through the pack, which is one of the reasons that I love, and it would sound like broken record here, why I love reverse grids, because it challenges people that aren't just quick in single lap pace, but that they can battle and overtake at the same time as well. And I guess that maybe that's what we're seeing here with Tao, but because we just have qualifying followed by a single 60-minute race, I think this is really going to benefit him in terms of his championship run.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This is a format that should really suit Tao, and I know you're a big fan of the reverse grid races. I'm a big fan of them too, but I also really like a series that has a variety of formats and challenges drivers to be able to conquer almost different disciplines. That's probably putting it a little bit strong, but you know what I'm getting at, right? It's different to be able to perform over a 60-minute race with strategy involved than in 2 20-minute sprint races.
Are we seeing a little bit of play here between Jamie and Tao, where neither wants to give each other the toe?
I think.
Or are they just mucking around and trying to brake check one another?
Certainly shenanigans going on between some drivers that know each other there, which is good to see. It's good when you can have a bit of fun on track. It doesn't always have to be serious, and perhaps that's just a good way of getting rid of the nerves before a big race like what we've got coming up here tonight.
Now, we talked a little bit about cars before we started the stream, but one of the things I think that's worth noting tonight is that we were a pick and stick series, but they've made a decision to open up car selection, and we are seeing a lot of people that have changed cars and some real big variety in those picks as well. So Corey Bennett came in with his Lamborghini and showed everyone just how competitive that could be, and now I am counting 3 Lambos. We even have an Audi in the field too.
Yeah, I just can't believe we got an Audi in the field, but the Audi, if there's one thing it's got going for it, does have decent straight line speed, from what I remember. And what have we got at Spa? That incredible run from the bottom at curve pull through to the chicane, where you just flat out all the way, all through well, not quite flat out through Blanchimont in these cars, but close to flat out from there to the chicane. And then you've also got the Kemmel Straight, of course, which is a massive straight all the way from Radillon down to Les Combes, and there's a lot of time on full throttle around Spa. So the Audi might be more competitive than you would suspect around here. It's good to see some Ferraris and a relative lack of Porsches, which I find really interesting. Perhaps the Porsche just down on straight line speed.
Yeah, well, the Porsche has always been better in corners, I think, than it has been on straight lines. So, if the option today is to change cars, then I don't think this is the track for the Porsche, which is, I think, perhaps why we're seeing, what have we got, 1, 2, 3, we only got 4 Porsches today, whereas before, certainly in some of the earlier ones, the Porsche, actually, I say 2 Porsches, because there's the Cup car as well, which is our safety car. So we only have 2 GT3s being driven by Ash Davis and Curtis Bird. Yeah,
and Ash Davis putting in 5th, so you said it might be a little bit weak, but it's evidently not too weak, unless Ash Davis is... well, let's see where Ash Davis is in the championship. He's currently 18th in the championship, having got 0 points so far. So, 50 points. Oh, I read the wrong column. 50 points so far. So, 5th is probably a decent result for Ash Davis if he can keep his pace there as the drivers evolve, as they get used to the track, as they improve themselves. If he can go with the field into qualifying into the race, that would be a decent result for him. Funny, I think we just saw a safety car bashing someone off
Yeah, there's a safety car doing laps at the moment. Ben Myers is out on track with the safety car.
Well, you got to get your practice in. It's really, I can speak from experience, having driven the safety car for the guys in the GR86s on Thursday last week. Not deliberately, because I joined the session as the wrong car, so I thought I'd make the most of it and let whoever is going to drive the safety car get in there and race instead. It's quite nerve-wracking because the Porsche Cup car's not an easy car to drive. It's got no anti-lock braking, no traction control, so you want to make sure that you can pull away safely.
Fitzroy has taken out the safety car.
I tell you what, you wouldn't do that in real life, would you? The safety car's liable to try and get you back. Poor Highlander.
Absolutely. Just watch him deploy mid-race and just pit Fitzroy off the track for that little cheeky play there.
Yeah, you just know it's gonna be like, will I pick up the leader or will I pick up...
It looks like Fitzroy's punishing himself by... he's giving himself a drive-through.
Well, let's wait and see if he stops at his marks first. Could just be a bit of pit stop practice. You know, just practicing pit maneuvering the car in front and then getting your fast repair so you can keep going.
Yeah, you know what? He probably is practicing his pit stops right now.
Maybe do it the lap that you're planning to pit anyway. Might as well take one of the competitors out.
You know, we've never needed, we haven't had any pit stops yet, so no one's actually had to practice these. So, genuinely, Fitzroy might be practicing his pit stops, because there's a lot of time to be gained and lost on pit entry and exit. If you know what you're doing, there's seconds there. Seconds.
There really is, and if you look at IndyCar's website, they actually track the stats of who's got the best in and out laps, because it's such a big thing. It can make such a difference to your race. If you can take a couple of seconds off your out lap, you know, not only get a good pit exit, but you get your tyres up to speed quickly, that can make a huge difference to your race, because it can put you ahead of your competitors that are right next to you on the track, and particularly in any spec series. And okay, this isn't a spec series, but they're all BOP'd. You're going to have tight fields, which makes it really important. 5 seconds in a spec series is much more than 5 seconds in another series. So you really need to do what you can on pit entry and pit exit and make sure you're nailing those in and out laps.
Now, we can actually, I was just having a look through the system here, and we can actually pull up drivers' pit stops time as well. So I think we can get their pit stop lap and their pit stop time, so we can see how long they were stopped for, and the time it's taken them to do that lap inclusive of the pit stop, though I don't think we can get just the pit stop itself. Because I think the pit stop time is the time they were stopped, not from when they entered to when they exit. But we will find out. But I'll be interested to play around with that one and see what that gives us.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what the differences are when they do pit, and it'll also be really good to see just what the difference in strategies is. You pointed out to me earlier that some drivers prefer to stop really early, get it done out of the way, get themselves into clean air, and I do wonder if we'll see anyone that perhaps qualifies, they feel out of position, taking that advice and just getting themselves into clean air so that they can run their own race, or whether we'll see drivers tend towards going long just in case we do get the Dr. Epoxy safety car out at any point and they can get a cheap spot like Hamilton did to stop our boy Piastri getting a podium.
Devastating. I've never been so devastated for a driver, I think. That was crushing for me, but I remember Piastri said in a post-race interview, he's like, I'm really happy to be disappointed about fourth.
Yeah, it's such a change in fortune for the beginning of the season, where McLaren looked like it might even be the slowest car. I think it
was the slowest car in the opening rounds for sure. It's a big comeback for them. But anyway, back to racing. We've only got 20 odd seconds left in this, and it looks like Tao once again is the clear favourite, but as we've seen before, Christensen is right on his backside, and we know, especially at Spa here, that a half a second in tow is nothing.
Yeah, it is not much at all. If you can get, it's really hard to judge these lap times against each other because we don't know who's got tows and who hasn't, and it will make a huge difference. Currently, there is a car stopped on track. Sereno looks like he stopped on track and has just got a tow back to lane.
Yeah.
And that's because we're about to start qualifying. And just how important is qualifying here tonight?
I think the qualifying is huge. It's so much more important on this particular race than it normally is because we don't have any heats and we don't have any reverse grids. It's going to be everything here. This is it.
It is, and we got an arrow for you to get back if you qualify out of position to get back into order, but that's just a normal length race, really, in real racing terms. It's fairly long for iRacing. Obviously, the drivers are not quite professional. Well, actually, I take that back. A lot of the drivers in this session are very, very, very good drivers, but 60 minutes isn't long enough that you can just completely undo your qualifying. And also, the further back you are, the more likely you are to get involved in an instant. And if there is a place that can generate instants on the first lap, Eau Rouge, Radion, you do tend to get instants there on the first lap. You get instants.
Even La Source.
Even La Source, yeah. Like, so there's so many places you can get instants.
Are we starting? Is this Grand Prix start or is it?
It'll be rolling start, won't it? GT3's been rolling start so far.
Yeah, but is the start? So sometimes the start finish is pointing downhill, and sometimes the Grand Prix is at the start. In turn 1 is La Source, and sometimes you start on the other side, going down the hill. And Eau Rouge is turn 1.
I have the information you have, so I don't know for certain, but I suspect it'll be the heading up to Eau Rouge where they will start the race. That's generally the preferred starting place for GT3s.
Yeah, I think so. I think our starting grid's going to be at the top.
Yeah,
but there is that option available.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be really intriguing to see what the behavior is going into turn 1, whether that be La Source or whether that be Eau Rouge Radion, because we've seen some aggression so far, and I do wonder whether some drivers will taper it down with it being a longer race, or whether they'll be even more keen to get to the front because they don't want to, like I said before, if you lose the toe around here, that can end your race. If you lose the toe and don't end up in that front battle pack when the battle packs emerge, you're out of the race for the lead almost. It's going to be that hard to get back. So I do wonder if we'll see some desperation to make sure that you are in that front group when there is an inevitable split in the pack. So, of course, it's a open qualifying session, so all the drivers are on track, and you can see they're all in a single line at the moment because they all want to get that toe. A couple of gaps, and we just saw Tao actually, I think he might have been leading the field, just drop back so that he can pick up a toe. So this will not be a fast lap from Tao Serrano. In fact, he's actually only just on an outlap, so he's timed his outlap so he can pick up this field and do what he wants and then get a toe. Dale Loop's done the same thing in the 710 car. Picking up 26, only just leaving the pits. So that's Oliver Patterson. Looking like he's not favouring getting the toe, unless he's able to catch the pack. But with most of the pack doing their first quali run, I think that will be difficult for him to do. So they might have missed a trick there. I think here we might be looking at...
I believe we've got Fitzroy on screen at the moment.
Yeah, and he is getting held up very much so by the Mercedes in front of him. That's not what he wanted. Evidently just ended up in the wrong place in the order for the start of this race, for the start of this qualifying attempt, and was definitely getting held up through Rivage there. I wonder if the car ahead will let him past before they start the next lap, given that it's quite evident that Fitzroy seems to have a bit more pace at this point than the Mercedes ahead. Could be a car thing. Only two Mercedes in the field. That's Tao Serrano and Orlando Black, and that's not Tao Serrano there. So it must be Orlando Black that is currently ahead of Fitzroy Beaumont and seem to be holding him up through Rivage. Jamie Christensen, the fastest so far, going to top of the leaderboard with a 2:17 dead. Brody Shepherd in second in a 2:17.1. And then Matthew Brunt, a 2:17.4 in third. And Mitch, I think your predictions about the BMWs being fast around here has come to fruition. It's a BMW 123 at the moment.
Well, Tao and Christensen are the fastest drivers, I think, so far in this series. So I'm not surprised. Are they maybe over-representing the BMWs, perhaps? Or do you think we're spot on about those BMWs being nice and swift on the straights?
Well, they're not the only ones fast, because you've got Brody Shepherd and Matthew Brunt up there. Matthew Brunt's third in the championship at the moment. Have we seen Brody Shepherd in GT3s yet? I recognise his name from the Formula 4s. He's a decent Formula 4 driver, although if you watch back the last broadcast, you probably would disagree with that assessment. It did not go well for him at all. But he's put it in second place at the moment, so having a stellar... I mean, it's early days. We've still got plenty of time left in qualifying for this all to change, but he's got the lap on the board, and it's so important to get that early lap on the board because it just frees you up. It means you know that you can push for your remaining laps and not worry about making a small mistake because you've got that lap time bank. Last thing you want is to be getting towards the end of qualifying, getting towards the pointy end, and finding out that you've got loads of time on the board and knowing that it's all or nothing. It's either last because you haven't got time on the board, or...
So this is Brody's first race in GT3 with us. We haven't seen him before. I can't see that he's got any points. He's not in our standings. So I believe this is first with us.
Yes, it's definitely his first with you. I've seen him... he's part of my endurance team. So I know he's a GT3 racer normally, so I'm not surprised to see him fast. But it's Brody Shepherd, yes.
Well, he's fifth in Formula Ford, in our Formula Ford.
Yes, he's also very good. He's pretty quick in everything he races. And Corey Bennett's just leapt to the top of the timing screens. We're in the Lamborghini with 2:16.8. But I'll just come back and finish the point I was going to make. Yeah, he's very quick in open wheelers. Loves his Formula Ford. Loves his Formula 4. Raced with him in those for a bit. And then also is a very keen GT3 racer. Did stop the GT3s for a little while so he could focus on the open wheelers. But has come back to it recently. I think doing an endurance series with me and another Brody, just reignited the GT3 passion in Brody a little bit, so it's good to see him out here tonight. And he also joined Vermilion recently, so that's part of why you're seeing him in this series. So just after people have done the second laps, let's go back to the order. Corey Bennett leapt to the top of the timing screens with that in the Lamborghini, which was fantastic. Jamie Christensen is in second, Brody Shepherd in third, Matthew Brunt in fourth. Connor Nixon in fifth, the lead Ferrari, doing a fantastic job there. Fitzroy Beaumont in sixth, Curtis Bird, the lead Porsche in seventh, then Ryan Grubb in eighth, David Milne in 9, and Orlando Black making sure that the Mercedes get represented in the top 10. Only the Audi not present in the top 10, and Mark Turner is currently, 13th, but he hasn't set a lap. Interesting to see, Mitch, the pack is spread out a lot more for their second laps. Do you think that's a reaction to what we saw for the first attempts where everybody was line astern?
I missed what you said. You're going to have to repeat that one for me.
So for the first run, it seemed like everybody was in a line. It was almost like a Chinese dragon where you got all the people underneath it and all wiggling around in the same direction to make it look like the dragon is moving like a snake with the cars. But this time they're all spread out. Looking at my trap map, you got some coming through Blanchimont, a group of 3. You got a couple coming through Curve Pour Ferrer. You got 3 coming through Pouon. A couple that have just gone past Rivage. 1 approaching Les Combes on Kemmel Straight currently. 1 going through Radion. They're really spread out. Do you think that's a reaction to some of what we saw in the first laps, or do you think that's just a coincidence?
Well, I think it's mostly a coincidence, but I think we're really likely to see, pairs and triplets of drivers, because as we mentioned, the tow is going to be really, really strong around here. It's got those big straights in Kemmel, and... oh, jeez, I can't remember what the bottom one is called. It's got a name, doesn't it? The one that goes into Blanchimont.
You know, I can't think what it is off the top of my head. Does it have a name? I feel like it does, but I can't think of it. Let's see if we can consult our friend Google and find out without having my keyboard come through the mic. That's the trick to it.
So Tausserano has just set the benchmark here with a 2-minute 15.7. Corey Bennett next fastest, 1 second behind. So I'll be interested to see Jamie Christensen respond with this one as he's coming around to that final corner. No, that's not the final corner. Where is he now? Okay, so he's just coming through through the infield right now. Let's just jump on board with him for this lap. So this is the straight that we were talking about before. Should be flat here through Blanchimont, I think. Maybe a slight lift, but probably flat. A little bit of curve. It's all the way nice and out wide. Looking for our braking marker here. Nice and tight to the inside. You don't want to hit these sausage curbs on the left. They'll really unsettle the car. Drive all the way out and across the line. Oh, he's actually held back.
Interesting. Wonder why he's done that.
I can't say. I'm not sure, but we've got this. Even this lap isn't going to be a good lap for him. So it's not this lap he's going to go for his hot lap on, it's going to be the next one. And I can't quite think of why that is.
So interesting. I wonder why he's done that.
I don't know. I truly don't know.
I mean, he gets great results, so I'm not going to question his methods, but I'm questioning his methods. There, just this once. Yeah, I mean he's currently third, so he's doing just fine. Doesn't need the lap, and that's he's built that safety in, hasn't he? By getting that great first lap. It's still his first lap. That's put him in third. Was on provisional pole, but has been overtaken by Tausserano and Corey Bennett. So he knows he's got that in the bank. He knows he's going to start in the top 3 rows, probably at the worst. So perhaps just decided that this lap wasn't quite perfect. Saw that he was down in his delta, and decided, you know what, maybe I'll just make sure my start for the next lap is going to be better.
Yeah, I thought perhaps he might just be out. Well, no, I'm not sure. I mean, the drivers get to. This is an open setup, so the drivers get to choose their fuel loads, and they'll all be out on, quality setups at the moment. So I don't know how many laps of fuel he brought with him. Maybe he never intended to set his best lap on that particular one.
Yeah, it's interesting. You don't want to carry any extra fuel that you need. They'll all be running on just about the smell of an oily rag and nothing more. But yeah, interesting to see him bail. Let's see what he does this time round. Car ahead won't have played a part. There's not enough.
I don't think this is his lap either.
This to affect it.
See, he took
It'll be this one, won't it?
If you were well, you would think so. But if you were going for a really fast lap here, you would normally take a much wider exit onto out of the bus stop chicane, which gives you a better run down the straight. So
it's half a second last lap.
That's crazy.
Getting himself in a second. So it was definitely the lap we just watched. That was the lap that he was really pushing on. 2 minute 16.546, but miles away from Tausserano up front at 2 minute 15.7. 3/4 of a second on the rest of the field. Tausserano putting on a clinic so far. It's hard to see anyone finding 3/4 of a second before the end of this qualifying session. However, the track will be getting rubbered in. iRacing does simulate evolving track conditions, so if the track is cooled down a bit and now there's a bit more rubber on there, we might see some fast times coming over the next 6 minutes before we get stuck into our main event.
And Christensen's actually getting held up here. I'm not sure who's in front of him right now.
Yeah, so Christensen definitely getting held up. You're absolutely right. They're approaching P1. It's the 55 car. Brody Shepherd ahead of him has just gone off the track, trying to carry too much speed from P1.
Did he perhaps just let him through then, or?
I suspect it could have been a mixture of both. Might have been pushing, or and just said, well, I'll push this time round, and if I can't make it, I'll just get out of the way. Perhaps knowing that he needed to up his pace, he was going to stay ahead of Jamie Christensen.
I'm looking at Christensen here, so this is not going to be his lap. I don't think he's going to improve, given how much he was held up there. And I'm looking at Corey Bennett, who's 5/1000th behind Christensen. If Christensen doesn't get on it, he could get pipped.
Yeah, Corey Bennett putting in the good lap to close the gap between him and Christensen. 2 minutes 16.559 from Bennett versus 2 minutes 16.546 for Jamie Christensen. Neither anywhere near Tao Sereno, but they pulled clear of Brody Shepherd in third. They've got over half a second to Brody Shepherd in third place. And Corey Bennett, gotta be said, one of the only 3 Lamborghinis and miles quicker than the other Lamborghinis, 2.5 seconds quicker than David Milne in 11th place, who's put in at 2 minute 19 dead, or Brad Hayes, who's the third Lamborghini at 2 minute 20.1. Interesting to note, there's a few drivers that haven't set a lap time yet, and I do wonder whether that is deliberate, or whether they will set a lap time before the end of the race. 2 of the Porsches haven't set a lap time. And then Aaron Obersteller, one of our commentary colleagues.
Now, Aaron is showing right now that his last lap was a 2:15.4, which it doesn't sound right to me.
I wonder if he's cut a corner. So we got a 2 minute 15.4, but it's not counting towards the standings. So he definitely doesn't have a lap time on the standings currently.
Now, Aaron is fast, but that puts him 0.2 faster than Tao.
Are you saying Obersteller can't beat Tao?
I'm not saying
maybe he can.
He can't.
If he cut a corner, it might have led to a better lap time.
That's true.
Or
that's
gone
true.
Wide.
Hang on, I can see that he's got an off-track. Here, let me bring this up. Okay, this is Aaron.
And in the process, show off our new replay functionality, new and improved.
So this is his off-track.
Yeah, carrying extra speed there.
Yeah, was he a little too far off there, or is it here? He's gonna maybe venture right off. Oh, that looked like it to me.
Could very well have been both. Not gonna lie, it could have been both. Either way, he's definitely got some extra speed for at least one of those corners.
Yeah, actually, I am seeing that there's two. There were 2 off tracks, so I think he got the off track on both of those, and that's an off track too.
There you go. That could easily be worth a 10.42.
Yeah.
Just going to call out Jamie Christensen's improved his lap time, not getting him anywhere near the Tao, but he has improved to 2 minutes 16.4, which gives himself a tiny bit of breathing space to Corey Bennett, of around a 1/10 of a second. Brody Shepherd improving as well to get himself a little bit closer to Corey, a 2 minute 17.1. So half a second behind.
Now, speaking of, Corey, who was on a hot lap here, just found himself a little off track, which is, with 1 minute 20 left, that's Corey out. Third is as good as he's going to do here.
Yeah, and it's just a matter now waiting to see if anybody else can beat him. He's not quite in the vicinity of Tao, miles behind, so there's definitely pace out there to slot in between Tao and Jamie Christensen and Corey Bennett. But no drivers are able to do it so far, but we've got plenty on track, about to finish laps. So look for some manoeuvring in your standings on the left of your screen before the end of this race and end of this qualifying session. And that's Ash Davis putting himself up into 8th. I think that was his first lap of the session. That's counted. A 2 minute 18 dead, and that puts him as the lead Porsche literally just above Curtis Bird.
Now, do we actually have anyone out on track at the moment?
According to my tracker, there's a lot of drivers out on track. Next across the line, Corey Bennett, the number 9 car. Let's see if he improves.
No, Corey got that off track earlier, so unfortunately for him, that means that his qualifying was well and truly over. We got Brunt. No, he's in.
How's the next person to cross the line? And he's got Fitzroy. Not Fitzroy. David Milne just behind him. Tao's just approaching Blanchimont.
Oh, Fitzroy's put it into the barrier, so that's going to be his session over anyway. Oh, well, he was never getting across the line anyway, because, well, we're all finished up for qualifying.
Yeah, and our grid is set for the 1 hour race. First 1 hour race of the ANZ ESeries coming to you in round 3 at the fabled Spa circuit. It's going to be really interesting. That's a warning shot from Tao, isn't it? I think if we're going to see a good race for the lead, we're going to need someone to get themselves ahead of Tao before they get around the first half of the lap.
Yeah, you're right. That is a shot across the... I want to say bow, but I'm going to say that's a shot across the cow.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent. I was going to say it was a towering performance. Wait. That's not correct.
Nope, that is not. I believe this is our grid.
So Tao Serrano takes pole position with a 2 minute 15.7. Alongside him on the front row of the grid is Jamie Christensen. Behind them for the second row is Corey Bennett and Brody Shepherd. Gets awfully tight from there on in. Matthew Brunt in 5th, Connor Nixon in 6th, the lead Ferrari. And now Fitzroy Beaumont and Ash Davis, the lead Porsche.
And there's our 2 Porsches too, keeping each other company.
Curtis Bird is in 9th, and Oliver Patterson rounds out the top 10. Be interesting to see who wins that Porsche battle. Ryan Grubbs in 11th, David Milne in 12th, the lead Porsche, I believe. Dale Lube in 13th, Orlando Black in 14th. Brad Hayes in 15th, alongside him, David Atkinson. And that might be the end of our runners that completed a lap time.
Yeah, that's everyone that has completed a lap.
But we have 3 more drivers in the session. That's Mark Turner, Aaron Orbistella, and Joshua Horton. And we definitely saw Orbistella at least trying to put in a lap time, but I think just getting 1X's and not able to put in a clean lap. And that's a big news for the championship because he's currently 4th in the championship. So starting from last, that's going to make it really hard for him to stay in that championship fight. No do-over, no reverse grid to help him get to the front. He's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with pure out-and-out pace if he's going to get himself into the battle with the likes of Christensen, Bennett, Shepherd, Serrano, Brunt. I don't think anyone's going to be in the battle with Serrano. But he might be able to get into the battle with the likes of Nixon, Shepherd, Bennett. But he's going to have to do it really, really... It's made his life really, really difficult.
Well,
but you can overtake at Spa. You definitely can overtake at Spa.
You can definitely overtake it at Spa. Unfortunately, Jamie Christensen is down in 5th at the moment in the standings. Despite his pace, I think he has not been quite as lucky on these... what would you call it? These reverse grids as well. So I don't think he's had quite the misfortune that Tao has, but he hasn't really made his way through the field in a way that we might normally want to see.
No, he hasn't maximized it as much as he could have, but luckily nobody else has either. So he's done just about as good as anyone. There were definitely points that have been left on the table by everyone. If any driver can stop doing that, if any driver can put together complete rounds from here on in, they will take home the championship. Because it's proving to be very difficult to do over the first 2 rounds. After tonight, we've only got another 3 rounds to go. So there's not many opportunities. If you can do it, just put 4 rounds together. That's all you need to do. And you will be with a shot of taking home the inaugural GT3 Series Championship in the ANZ ESeries. Drivers now lining up behind the safety car just before the chicane. There'll be a little while before all the drivers get on track, and then Ben Faulkner, our glorious leader here at ANZ ESeries, leader, dictator, whatever you want to call him, he will read the riot act to the drivers, tell them the standards that are required, read out some of the sponsors that Vermilion have on board to them, and then they will get racing.
Yes, I'm seeing right now that we don't have anyone on track. We've got this just little bit of beautiful downtime where it's just you and me, and the beautiful countryside of Belgium.
I love the scenery at Spa, but it's so interesting, isn't it? When we have this period here, for me and you sat here, it's kind of a very chill moment. It's the calm before the storm,
it is very cathartic. You know what? I like to think of it as the eye of the storm because we've just had qualifying, but we're about to have the race.
You know what you've done? You've taken my analogy and you've improved it. So
you're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But the feeling's so different in the car. I'm sure you felt it when you've been doing your own sim racing as well. In a moment like this, when you sat in the car, you've got the series runner giving you the riot act. The adrenaline just builds and builds and builds, and it gets to the point where sometimes you can hear your pulse. Sometimes that's how much adrenaline you get waiting on the grid, knowing you're about to go racing. It's not even a real car, but you're about to go racing. You care about it. You're being read the riot act. It feels so real at that point, and it's such a contrast to here in the commentary box. Where here we're just chill. We're chatting rubbish, and it's almost like just waiting. In the car, you're so pumped, ready to go. It's not surprising when we see first corner incidents, because it takes a while for that energy to dissipate. You need an outlet for it. You're just like saying like, oh, just shut up and let me race.
Yeah, I do get quite nervous before the start. I get jitters. I get like sweaty palms. Which is really funny because when I have raced karts in real life, I'm chill. I'm like cool as a cucumber. But in sim racing, for some reason, it just does me.
It's fantastic. And the thing is, when you get all that adrenaline, it's good in a way because it's preparing your body to make faster movements, faster reactions. It's preparing you for the assault that you're about to get, trying to manhandle these cars around. But it can also lead to really jerky movements on the steering wheel, and it can lead to you sort of doubting your inputs, and that's when you make mistakes. Particularly when you're in wheel-to-wheel battle, when you need to be so precise on the brake to make sure that you are not going to lock your tires when you're trying to go up someone's on the inside, and all of a sudden you got all this adrenaline, which means that you feel like you're putting the same amount of pressure on the brake. Actually, you can be putting on more because that's just the adrenaline giving you that extra strength. And you don't want it. You want to stay cool so you can keep your braking pressure the exact same that you were doing in practice when you practiced that inside line. And instead, everything is trying to make you hit it harder. Everything is making you want to be jerkier on the steering wheel. Everything is trying to make you a worse driver. And that's why the best drivers, they often do sound cool on the radio, because you need that calmness to be able to drive a car like this smoothly, and smoothly means quickly.
Yeah, I find I have to tell myself to not overthink things. Because I do that a lot, and I start thinking about my breaking points, and when I think about them, I'm done for. When I start having to put conscious effort into what I'm doing, I'm just done, and I just have to like shut my brain off and just go back to just relying on instinct.
I'm 100% the same. If you throw a ball at me, if you absolutely peg it at me and I've got no time to think, 9 times out of 10 I'll catch it and you'll be like, oh my god, how did you do that? But hit a ball in the air, give me time to think, and I will drop it 9 times out of 10. And you'll be like, how did you not catch that? It's and it's the same with racing. It's like you do that instinctual thing, and like you'll catch a slide, and people will be like, that was amazing. How did you do that? But then you sit there thinking in the grid, give yourself time to think about the attack you're going to launch in the next corner as you come down the Camel Straight, and all of a sudden you do something awful, and the other commentary team are laughing at you. Can speak from personal experience there. Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? How different it is, and how that happens. And there was another point I was going to make, and I have I've completely abandoned my head, so I'm going to throw it at you, Mitch.
Well, that's all right, because I think we're about to kick off here.
Who's your pick for driver to make the most positions?
Oh, most positions. Maybe Aaron, because I feel Aaron is out of position.
Oh, 100% he is. A safety car has pulled in. We're going to get racing straight away. Tao Serrano and Jamie Christensen will lead the field. Tao Serrano will decide when we go racing here. He's effectively the safety car. Everyone's going to stay behind him. They're going to line up 2 by 2 by 2. And that's going to put them side by side as they head down to Eau Rouge on their first lap. Looks like they're not going to get started before last source, so they will start on the run to Eau Rouge. Well, Tao Serrano put his foot down part way around this corner, because you look at the lead he's got now.
Oh yeah, he's gone.
Yes, exactly what he's done. Absolutely nailed that. Jamie Christensen slots into second. Corey Bennett still in third. Brody Shepherd in fourth place, very close between Shepherd and Brunt. Wonder if we might see an attack into Eau Rouge. No, but they are following so close. Gonna see so many attacks down into Les Combes. Let's stay on board here with Matthew Brunt. Now we're gonna cut to Brody Shepherd. And there's Talserano at the lead of the field. Hopefully he gets through Leocoms safely. I'm sure he will. And he's already pulled out 0.8 of a second on the car ahead. So he must just be running less downforce than most of the other cars to pull out all that speed on the Kemmel straight. Corey Bennett is up into second place with Brody Shepherd in third now. Matthew Brunt in fourth. So who's come unstuck there? Fitzroy Beaumont falling down to fifth place. Colin Nixon in sixth place. Ash Davis in the Porsche in seventh place. He's had a good start. Oh, one position from where he started. Yeah, Jamie Christensen, the big loser, was started in second place. He's down 6 positions all the way into 8th. So he's got unstuck at Les Combs somewhere. Now watching Corey Bennett. He's currently in second place, but certainly under more pressure than he is attacking. 2.8.
Now let's jump back and we'll see if we can find out exactly what has happened to Jamie Christensen.
Yeah, let's please do. And we got a car stopped on track as well. Number 43, Jay Horton, is stopped between Pirwan and Fagnes.
So this is our race start. Watching Jamie from the blimp here, who, as we remember, started in second, but it looks like he's already in third. Oh, did he get it? He got himself a slowdown penalty, didn't he?
He must have. He's going slow. So, assumed as a slowdown penalty. And we've got a safety car.
Oh, safety car early. Well, it's far too early for anyone to be thinking about pitting. Ben Miles stopped out on track at the moment, waiting for the leader.
And we thank Ben Miles for driving the beautiful Dr. Epoxy safety car. It's only with the volunteers like Ben Miles and Ben Faulkner.
Now, I think our crash was between Atkinson, our Obersteller, and Hayes. Let me bring us a replay here. So this is Aaron Obersteller. Let's jump on board.
Well, he's not close to anyone at the moment, so if he is involved, this is too late in the lap because this is heading down to the chicane.
Right,
so this is well after. This is well after the incident. The incident occurred just past Pirwan and heading down to Fagnes, and I think it was Joshua Horton was the car stopped on track. So are there any incidents involving Horton that we need to have a look at?
Wait, here we go. I think I've got something now. Let me bring this one up. Alright, so we're on board with Joshua Horton here.
It's not a great run down to Pirwan. Takes Pirwan nicely.
Yeah, it's pretty well settled. Oh, there it is. Oh.
He's going to come back into the... No, so just Horton involved there, but too much damage to continue.
Yeah, it looks like he'll have had to pull over and request a tow for that one. So at least we know what's brought out the safety car.
Yeah, it was a nasty, nasty incident there. Not sure if he will have a fast repair available to him. He's still in pit lane. Of course, he could just be waiting on the tow. But we'll find out soon. If he goes a lap down, he probably hasn't had a fast repair to get himself back out.
Now, what I'm interested to see is whether or not our pace car is heading in now.
It is a very long lap around Spa, so I imagine they'll try not to do 2 laps if they can get away without doing 2 laps. No word.
No, I think Alton might be back out on track. Yeah, he's Alton now, entering, re-entering. So he's had his pit, he's had his repair, and he's back out on track. So I'll jump over to our safety car, and he still has the group bunched up. So I'm interested to see whether or not he's coming in this lap, and whether or not Alton can catch back up to the pack. Oh, it looks like Alton is... sorry, it looks like the safety car is in, and we are back for a restart with Tao now.
So that means Horton won't be able to catch the pack. He's going to be about a third of a lap behind. So that will put him effectively out of the race.
Well, I mean, we've still got 54 minutes left, so a lot can happen. We could have another safety car, and he could just catch back up.
We are yet to have a clean lap of motor racing, and we're over 5 minutes into this race. So, you know what? You may very well be right.
I mean, we're about to... Essentially, we're doing the start again, which bunches the whole pack back up and gives us another opportunity. So let's wait to see how Tao does this. If he's launching it out of the bus stop. No, he's going to hold on to it.
Yeah, holding on to it for now. Of course, the cars need to be single file for this safety car restart. Normal safety car restart rules apply, so Tao Serrano decides when the...
I like that we're seeing these fastest laps now.
Amazing that it was quicker than their first lap, actually, the second lap. I would have thought the first lap would have been faster.
Yeah, so Tao leading the race. He's just nailed it straight out of La Source as we come down the hill into Eau Rouge. Really big gaps we're seeing between all these drivers at the moment. Doesn't look like anyone's going to try and make any moves here, though I suspect that as we move down this field, we'll see a few people wanting to make some moves as we come down onto Kemmel.
Yeah, and Joshua Horton not too far behind in the end, all things considered, just approaching La Source now. So he's basically the first sector behind. Corey Bennett looking like a bit of a stopper in the bottle. Already 1.1 seconds behind Tao Serrano.
Yeah, that man could really just pull it out. Oh, it looks like we've got a couple of moves going back here. Oliver Patterson falling behind a little bit. Couple overtakes coming in there.
Yeah, Oliver Patterson and Orbistella side by side there. Orbistella getting back past Patterson.
Orbistella is on the move too.
Oh, you called him out as a big mover and shaker coming forward, and he's doing that, fulfilling your prophecy, because he's so high up in the standings that we knew he was out of pace position at the start. I just didn't get a clean lap in qualifying, and he's been given a golden opportunity here. He made some overtakes before the safety car. He's got the cars all bunched up to try and make some more overtakes before another safety car gets inevitably called at some point during this race, and just perhaps he can get himself towards that lead group. But Tao Serrano is going to disappear. I think his goal now has got to be getting onto the group that starts with Corey Bennett and currently ends with Jamie Christensen, with Ryan Grubb falling already 4 seconds behind Jamie Christensen.
So we're on board with Oberstella. I'm interested to see if he can make this gap up. I mean, he's closing up right now on Milne, and maybe there might be some opportunities coming here with this group of 4.
Yeah, we saw Milne
nice
trying to get
up on the inside there.
Yeah, and I think we just saw Milne going off track. Did we not look like he was... Oh, it could be Ash Davis. Ash Davis tumbling down the timing screens now. He's bolted into the pits. There's Ash Davis. Heading on lap 3. Is it lap 3 our critical number to get to the end? We have just had a big safety car period. Might be able to get to the end of the race from here. But it looked like he was making a move up the inside and then just suddenly bound into the pits.
I haven't heard anything about any penalties. But look at this. Look at Aaron here. He's just gapping Milne behind him down this straight. That's a big pack as well in this little battle for 10th.
Yeah, the field sort has devolved into 2 battle packs now. The first is being led by Orlando Black. That's what I find Orbistella in currently. So you got Orlando Black in 8th place. He's 9.6 seconds off the lead, 5 seconds behind Jamie Christensen ahead of him, and pretty much every car behind him is within half a second of the car in front. The biggest gap in that pack is Orbistella to grab a second there. And then you've got the leader, Tao Serrano, who's got 1.6 seconds to Corey Bennett, and then behind Corey Bennett...
Oh, no, Aaron! Oh, we've got a crash!
No. This could be a second safety car.
This could be a second safety car.
Big incident there for Obersteller. He's kept it going. Not sure who was the unfortunate victim in that accident. Was it Brad Hayes? Brad Hayes is currently off the back of the pack.
Yeah, I think that was Brad Hayes. Let me see if we can pull up a replay of this one.
Neither car stopped, so we might escape without a safety car.
With Brad Hayes here. This is our replay. So we're looking up ahead to see if Aaron this is where Aaron gets loose. Oh no, Brad Hayes has his own unforced incident there. And you can see Aaron down there. So Brad had his own accident, completely independent. So who?
Just goes to show that there must have been less grip at that corner than a lot of the drivers were expecting, and those that really pushed it, just getting it wrong. And we've got a few drivers in the pits now. Patterson,
yeah, I think it was perhaps Oliver Patterson. So we'll just jump on with him now as well. So we can see he's only like 2 cars back, or 1 car back, I guess. It's in between him and Aaron here. He's coming up the Puon. You can see him getting loose. Oh no! It looked to me, at least from Oliver's perspective, it looked like Aaron had saved that. And so you can hear him, he gets the power back down, and he thinks he's just going to go on the inside. And I think even Aaron thought he had that one too.
The other thing is he's got a car on his outside, so he can't just bail out, because he's blocked. So he had to go inside.
He was boxed in.
There's no way you can avoid it. No way you can avoid it. So Ash Davis getting back past Patterson and Obersteller as they make their pits. Brad Hayes in the pits as well. Just leaving the pits now. Brad Hayes, Obersteller and Patterson have started on their outlap, and Ash Davis has jumped the 3 of them by keeping it clean on his outlap. So even though he pitted early, he's the lead of those that have pitted. Tao Serrano in the lead of the race hasn't pulled away, hasn't continued to pull away from Corey Bennett at the pace I perhaps expected he might. Gap's only up to 2 seconds, considering it was over a second at the end of the first lap. That's not too bad, but Brody Shepherd, Corey Bennett just pulling the likes of Brody Shepherd, Matthew Brunt, Fritz or Beaumont, Jamie Christensen and Connor Nixon along. They're all within half a second of the car in front. Not much movement in that pack, but I do wonder if any of them do have the pace to get ahead of Corey Bennett and then try and chase down Tassereno. But given the advantage Tao had in qualifying, I'm not going to put any money on it.
Yeah, so we are seeing like a bit of a breakaway here. So we've got Tao Serrano at the front, then Corey Bennett 2 seconds back, then 6 drivers battling for second before we get to Orlando Black, and then Ryan Grubb 2.5, Dale Lubb 4 seconds, then Curtis Bird right behind him, David Atkinson, and then we have everyone that sort of had an unfortunate incident.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's spread out now. You've got that massive battle pack from second down to 7th, and then everybody else pretty spread out. There's a couple of cars fighting each other, like Dale Lube. Corey, no!
Oh, he's bottled it!
Oh, he'll be kicking himself, and he's going to be behind that battle pack, and it's going to be hard to catch back up without the tow. Brody Shepherd now at the lead of the battle pack, and I think the cars behind him smell blood.
That's it. Well, now he's in that backpack that we were talking about before. He's got Orlando Black 1 second behind him, which is just close enough to be in the tow. You know, there is a world here where Corey Bennett tows Orlando Black right up to the back of everyone else. As we see in the background here, Connor Nixon makes a cheeky move on Fitzroy Beaumont and is now falling back.
I think they've had a bit of an incident in that corner. Corey Bennett definitely falling down in the Ferrari. We'll have to see if we can bring you a replay.
Okay, so we're looking at Connor Nixon here. Some real close racing coming out of Puon here. Goes for the move up on the inside. Oh, in the two... Oh, okay, just a little bit of door-to-door.
Yeah, door-to-door mid-corner, which isn't what you want to see. Not sure...
Yeah, and that was between... yeah, that was between Fitzroy and Connor.
Let's see if we can get another angle. It's hard to see just how alongside Nixon is on the entry to the corner there. Certainly by the time they make contact, it's only front left wheel to rear right wheel. But I do wonder how alongside he was on entry.
I think we can get a real nice view of that one. Let's...
Yeah, let's just show it nicely.
Yeah, this will be nice because I think it's Connor that goes up the inside here.
It certainly is.
Is he close enough? That's not his corner, is it?
No, he's not entitled to space there, I don't think. I do think he sort of half realised as he was going in that it wasn't quite close enough, and he hugged the curb a lot, trying to stay to the inside, but eventually just washed out a little bit. And I think Brody Shepherd's just lost 2 positions. I'm not sure if it was an instant or if he's just... Yeah, just not... Is that... Well, let's see what happened here. Suddenly he's still running in 4th and is just behind Matthew Brunt and Jim Christensen. So I think the 3 of them just swapping positions. So
yeah, this could just be some close racing. Oh, a little bit of a wobble.
Yeah, it gets wide. Tell you what, we might want to cut to the 3 of these live now because they are nose to tail, pushing each other's gearboxes up through the curve, Paul Ferrer, and approaching Blanchimont. So that's Christensen pulling to the inside and getting ahead of Brunt. What's going to happen down the chicane though? Brunt shaping to make him move back. He's going to cut back towards the inside. No, just sticks right behind him. Brody Shepherd at the battle pack of this battle pack of 3. This is for the podium positions. Christensen in 2nd, Matthew Brunt in 3rd, Shepherd in 4th with 42 minutes to go. Now that's Fitzroy Beaumont. You can see leading a group of 3 in the background, and I think that was Corey Bennett diving into pit lane, perhaps just fixing a bit. Connor Nixon even, apologies, diving into pit lane, perhaps with a little bit of damage. Thinking now is a good time to use my fast repair, as I am well within the pit window.
Well, yeah, we talked about the pit window opening up after about 20 minutes. So, I mean, these guys have the data on the fuel that we don't hear. So perhaps they are, well and truly in the pit window. I'll quickly cut over to Corey and see. No, Corey's out on track at the moment.
Yeah, it was Connor Nixon that pitted. Apologies, not Corey Bennett.
Oh, okay, Nixon.
I just got mixed between which one was in the Ferrari and which one was in the Lambo. There's Connor Nixon in the Shell-powered Ferrari, heading into pit lane. Heading out of pit lane.
Now we do have a timer on his pit here. We can see how long this is going to take him. Okay, so it looks like we do get the time for how long he's in pit lane and how long he's going to be in this pit box for.
Yeah, really long time in pit lane, well over a minute, and he's only been in the box for 17 seconds. So it takes you a better part of a minute just to get to the box, such is the length of the pit entry here. And he's disconnected?
Surely that's not his race.
I hope not. He was well in that battle with Bennett, Beaumont, Black. For, yeah, okay, maybe not the podium positions, but certainly a top 5 finish was still there for him, but...
Yeah, I'm still seeing is him being out of the car, along with Joshua Alton as well. Both of those guys look like they might be out of this race.
That's why Connor Nixon's picked up a drive-through penalty contact with car number 16, Fitzroy Beaumont, and I think upon receiving that has decided to call it a night.
I feel like that's maybe a little premature. Like there's a lot of racing. We've still got like 40 minutes worth of this race. A third of it is still going, right?
Yeah, it's plenty of time for the safety car. The safety car brings back into it.
Like Nixon's leading the championship.
Yeah, safety car brings you back into this quite easily. Wonder if perhaps he disagrees with the call from race control. Be interesting to get his thoughts after the race if he is around and watching the stream, or even during the race. If you're listening, Connor Nixon, feel free to hop in and tell us what you're thinking. But yeah, really interesting that he's decided to call it quits. I did wonder if maybe he didn't mean to pit. And forgot, came in for the drive-through, forgot he was doing the drive-through and then pitted.
Oh yeah, perhaps he didn't mean to stop, or I mean, it's even entirely possible that maybe he has some sort of technical issues.
Yeah, could also be that. Internet in Australia is not super stable at all times, shall we say. Thank you, previous governments, for your decisions. Anyway, Taos Duran hosted in the lead of this race, 6.1 seconds now ahead of Jamie Christensen, because all those in about a pack per second having some sort of issue or battle. Jamie Christensen in second place, Brody Shepherd in podium positions in third place, Corey Bennett in fourth, 5 seconds behind Brody Shepherd, who's only 1.4 himself behind Jamie Christensen, so there's a bit of a battle there between second and third. Matthew Brunt, who was in that battle, has pitted. He's in 11th place. He's come out not far ahead of Ash Davis. Only 2 seconds between the two of them, so Ash Davis's early stop really working into his favour, but doing nice and quickly, setting decent lap times. And yeah, he's got himself right next to Brunt as he exits the pit lane.
So it looks like this battle between Corey and Fitzroy might be the closest. Oh, actually, no. We've got Oliver Patterson is bearing right down right at the moment on Aaron Obersteller.
Yeah, interesting to see that. So Obersteller's pitted, as has Patterson. So these are third and fourth of those that are pitted, 13th and 14th on the road, and less than half a second to choose between the two of them.
Now we'll quickly bring up pit stop counts so we can see, with the exception of Connor Nixon, who is out of the race, everyone at the bottom has pitted. So Matthew Brunt, Ash Davis, Aaron Obersteller, Oliver Patterson, Curtis Bird, Brad Hayes, and Joshua Alton have all pitted.
Oh, that also looked like it got a bit wider. That's going to open the door for Patterson coming down the approach to Blanchimont. Oh, not as bad as I thought, actually. It looks like he's pulled away a little bit. Could be a bit of a difference in the setups between the cars. We saw earlier, Obersteller had massive straight line speed, so that might be helping him stay ahead of Patterson here.
Now, I've got up on screen at the moment everyone's pit stop time. So this is the amount of time that they were stopped for. So clearly, some drivers are going for some different strategies. Brad Hayes, Curtis Bird, Oliver Patterson may potentially have taken tyres as well. But Aaron has got the shortest pit stop with an 8.7.
Yeah, certainly no need to take the tyres in this race.
No, I wouldn't think so either.
It is interesting though, isn't it? It's quite a big difference between Obersteller and everybody else. So
I would have thought that tyres would be about 20 seconds closer to what we're seeing with Brad Hayes' pit stop. But
so do we think he's under fuel? Oh, okay. So what it is no, because Patterson pitted on lap 5 as well. Both of these drivers pitted. I thought it might just be that he pitted earlier, so obviously didn't need to take on as much fuel. But he pitted the same lap as Patterson.
Well, with the time when you stop shouldn't affect how much fuel you put in. Because either you're pitting early and you're just... Because all you're doing is adding the... You're on board
correct.
now, right? Yeah,
cool. I'm on board. I'm following you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Ooh, we've had a bit of an overtake as well. We'll bring you back to this one.
And the Lander Black now in the pits.
Dale Love, what has happened here with Dale? Has he gone into pit as well, perhaps?
I think he's overtaken someone in pit lane, but I think they hadn't registered quite as being in the pit yet.
Oh, okay, so he's overtaken Orlando Black. Oh, I can see he's in the pits there in the background. Yeah. Okay.
Right, we're now on board with Fitzroy Beaumont. He's got Ryan. He's just chased down Corey Bennett, actually. So that's Corey Bennett ahead of him in the Lamborghini in 4th place, having a pretty decent race. The lead Lamborghini by a country mile and a half. And he's got Fitzroy Beaumont right behind him. Fitzroy Beaumont got caught up in that contact with Connor Nixon earlier on. Hurt both of them, but it hurt Connor Nixon a lot more than it did Fitzroy. And the stewards saw fit to give Connor Nixon a drive-through penalty for that incident.
Was that the one that Fitzroy was involved in?
Yes, this was Connor Nixon up the inside of Fitzroy Beaumont.
That's right, and it wasn't really. That's the one we said that it wasn't his corner, was it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't his corner. I'm sure he'll say that Fitzroy Beaumont pinched in, and he did, but Fitzroy Beaumont was entitled to do that. Corey Bennett not far enough alongside. I thought maybe under brakings originally he might have got close enough, but you saw with that.
Yeah, once we had that tight view, we could really see the difference.
Yeah, it just wasn't alongside enough at corner entry to really think that he was entitled to space throughout the entirety of the corner. Would be my view on that incident, and evidently a view that the racing stewards agree with. Racing stewards here today being Ben Faulkner and Ben Miles.
Yeah, we don't necessarily always agree with the stewards in their decisions or all the penalties that they hand out. But on this one, I think I'm on board with it.
Yeah, and because we want to keep the racing really clean, and that's one of the most important things in this series, is one of your best ways of attracting and retaining drivers is to make sure that it's a really clean, respectful series. One of the ways to do that is by having really harsh penalties for those who transgress the standard of racing. Even if in another league you might be tempted to be lenient and try and make it, I guess, more fair and more proportional to the I guess mistake or the infringement made. In this, I think they're deliberately trying to go a little bit harsh just to deter those kind of speculative inside moves, because nobody wants to have their hour-long race ended after only 20 minutes, and you know, if that starts happening, then you're going to lose drivers. So I think that might be part of the thinking behind the decision, and also Connor Nixon being a Vermilion driver and the series being run by essentially being run by Vermilion Motorsports, keen to be harsh on their own of Vermilion to make sure that there's no appearance of bias.
So while we've been watching this battle, we missed an overtake of Ash Davis on David Atkinson, so we'll bring that one up for you now.
Yeah, David Atkinson yet to pit, but falling behind two of the pitted runners, so I do wonder whether David Atkinson even had a mistake, and that's what we might see here.
And keep your eye on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, because we can still see the battle between Fitzroy and Corey Bennett for 4th.
So David Atkinson is driving Ferrari, so certainly not the car immediately ahead. Might be that purple Ferrari C2 cars ahead.
Oh, that's a pretty good run coming out there. So this could be on pace.
Yeah, it's a beautiful run. Ferrari's still way ahead. David Atkinson's now got back past Ash Davis.
Oh, he's just got to get him under brakes here. Yeah, okay. Nice wide line there too, but smartly parks on the apex to stop Ash being able to get that nice run down the straight.
Yeah, now let's see if we can watch the replay of Atkinson getting back past Ash Davis while we were watching that original replay. Ah, you're already on it. Fantastic. So we will likely see David Atkinson come into view from behind. I'm going to assume at the chicane. Bits where Beaumont and Ryan Grubb now in the pits. Ah, so Ash Davis pulled into the pits for his second stop of the night. Second stop of the night, then. Unless that was from really early in the race.
No, that's now.
No, Ash
that's
Davis
live.
is in the pits now. Yeah, so he pitted on lap 4, not able to get to the end. 30 minutes to go, so he's called that nice and early. He must have had damage, must have been why he pitted so early. Makes me wonder what's going to happen with Oberstella and Patterson, who pitted only 1 lap later on lap 5.
Yeah, I wonder if Aaron used his fast repair and he still has to pit for fuel.
Yeah, that would be my bet, given the information we have currently. Tal Serrano now with a 7.7 second lead in this race. Absolutely dominant. Apologies for not having you much on screen, Tao, if you are watching back, but you're just doing too good. It's we need you to drop back a little bit to get into a few battles. Jamie Christensen, the guy closest to putting anything like pressure on Tao. With Brody Shepherd having dropped back from Jamie Christensen a bit now, 3 seconds behind Jamie Christensen and occupying the last podium position. Corey Bennett is in 4th and trying to chase Brody Shepherd down. Their last lap time is very similar, less than only a 10th in it between Shepherd and Bennett, so it'll be a long, hard slog if Bennett's going to get back up to Shepherd ahead of him.
Yeah, that's 5 seconds that he's got to sort of sniff out here. He was pretty fast in qualifying and in practice, and there's still half a race to go, and anything can happen. Like a late safety car, and everything changes. The whole landscape that's been developing right now could change drastically. Yeah,
absolutely. Or a poor pit entry, pit exit could cost someone like Brody Shepherd, who's only got 5 seconds to come behind. Could cost Christensen, who's only got 3.3. You can easily lose seconds on pit entry and pit exit.
I'm just bringing you a replay here of Ash Davis, who
that.
I think may have crashed.
You think he may have crashed coming out of pit lane?
Yeah, that's what my screen is telling me, that he may have crashed. Though it could be confusing, perhaps driving slow with out of pits as perhaps a crash. Because so far everything looks fine to me.
Something does look fine. It might be down at Les Combes though. I definitely wouldn't be the first driver to go off at Les Combes having come out of the pits on fresh, cold tyres.
I think if we were going to see something, we would have seen it by now. So I think he's probably just fine. I think our system just picked him up as coming slow out of the pits and concluded that must have been the result of a crash.
Yeah, no problems with that driving whatsoever. So Matthew Brunt, the 134 car, is now the lead car to have made their pit stop. Ahead of David Atkinson, is yet to pit. And in 7th place, top 6 yet to pit.
So it'll be interesting to see where Brunt comes out on balance. So if we have a look at these, we can see the time stopped, but we can't really see their time in the pits themselves, like just how much they've lost. So we know it's taking them about a minute 10 seconds from pit entry to pit exit, but I'm not sure what the delta is between that lap and exactly what they lose to the leaders. But we can bring up the gap, and we can see that Matthew Brunt is a minute 15 back from Tao, our leader. So we can probably surmise that he's maybe about 5 seconds behind. So he could be, Brunt could be third or second on balance here.
Yeah, he pitted out of that battle with Christensen and Shepherd. Was a 3-car battle for a while. He decided to make it 2. So it'll be interesting to see where he feeds out in regards to Christensen and Shepherd. Like you're pointing out, the timings all seem to point towards a future battle.
Now, the other one that I think, because we know Fitzroy Beaumont pitted from half a second behind Corey Bennett. and he looks to be a minute and what's that? 16 seconds. A minute 16 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. That's about what I was suspecting. That a minute 15 behind that the time lost in pits is about a minute 15 on this track, which basically puts Matthew Brunt right on the tail of Sereno.
I'd be surprised if he comes out right on the tail of Sereno. Just looking at the lap times that Sereno has been putting in, and Matthew Brunt's been going along at a nice pace, but it's not nearly Sereno pace. So I don't think he's going to come out near Sereno. But we'll wait and see. It's a wonderful thing when you have pit stops in a race. You never know quite how the deck's going to unfold, and we might get a safety car yet. Like you said, that could absolutely change the complexion of this race. Although, I think if we're going to get one, it's going to be a car losing it by themselves. Not many battle packs on track at the moment. There's a few within 3 seconds that could develop into live battles, but really the closest battle at the moment is Orlando Black and Fitzroy Beaumont.
So it looks like Tao has finally decided to pit. So this is where we'll see where Brunt is. So I've got their fastest laps up on screen at the moment. So Tao does have the fastest at a 16.8, but Brunt is not that far behind him at 0.6 per lap. Now I can't tell you what their average lap time is, but if Tao isn't doing fastest laps every lap, then Brunt could put in if he's consistently putting in 17 point something, well, he could come out right nearby.
So I do have the last 5 lap average available to me, but that's capturing their pit lap as well. So Tao Serrano at 217.3 was his average over the last 5. Jamie Christensen at 217.6. Dale Lubb a 219.8 and Matthew Brunt a 219.1, but I do suspect that's picking up on that might be picking up on a pit lap, given that it's 5 laps. We're currently on, what lap are we on? Lap 19? No, 19th amount of drivers we've got in. Lap 15.
Now, Brunt is under an enormous amount of pressure here from Fitzroy Beaumont.
And these guys are racing for position.
Yeah, they're on. This is 4th position. They are on the same one. Let's have a look at where Tao is right now. Tao is back out on track.
Yeah, so Matthew Brunt with a 2-minute 32 on his last lap. Really, really, really slow.
So I'm interested to see how long Tao was stopped for as well. So Tao, 15.1 seconds.
Beaumont's now ahead of Brunt. Yeah, we just spent a lot of time talking about Brunt and speculating how close he was going to come out to between him and Tao Serrano, but the gap is quite large. With Tao Serrano only 53 seconds back from the leader, Brunt 23 seconds to 30 seconds the gap between Serrano and Brunt. But Brunt's had some sort of issue that we haven't picked up on because his last lap was 2:32, and he wasn't pitting, so he lost 15 seconds somewhere, so he had some sort of spin.
So we're on board with Fitzroy Beaumont for this replay, coming down the Kemmel Straight. So it looks like he's going to make this move into the first chicane, or the first bus stop, if you will. He's got the inside line, and he's got the full overlap. It looks like Brunt just gave that one up. Didn't really put up too much of a fight.
Yeah, he since then he's stuck with Beaumont, only 0.7 seconds behind. But I think something happened because I don't think they were together on track, and then all of a sudden they were battling. So I do think we missed something there. Tao Serrano only 53 seconds behind Jamie Christensen. Is Jamie Christensen going to pit here? No, that's Fitzroy Beaumont. Fitzroy Beaumont continuing. Christensen not in the pits that I can see. No, he's approaching Fagnes now. He's got Brody Shepherd not far behind him. So Christensen, Shepard, and David Atkinson, the only 3 drivers yet to pit. 19 minutes of the race still to go. We had the safety car intermission, which took us... We lost about 5 minutes worth of racing with that. So they're going to go about 5 minutes, a couple of minutes longer than we thought. It's probably an extra lap compared to what they would have been able to do without the safety car stoppage. I'll be interested to see if any of them are going.
Another lap and a half. We've got 2 laps of safety cars, so it's probably a lap and a half worth of fuel at racing pace.
Yeah, something like that. Very quick maths, but it will be substantial. Let's put it that way. Wonder if any of them are fuel saving. Trying to get to the end. It'd be a really bold maneuver if anybody is doing it. Only 3 drivers could possibly be doing it: Christensen, Shepard, and Atkinson. Pace, Christensen, and Shepard have been going out. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear at this point that unless there is a safety car, that Tao is going to run away with this one. I mean, and there definitely could be, though people, I think at this point, have sort of settled into their car and the track conditions. So I think unforced errors are going to be much further behind us.
Either that or a racing incident. We've got Orbistella about to make a manoeuvre on David Atkinson. And there's also Matthew Brunt just behind Fitzroy Beaumont, and Orlando Black trying to chase down Brunt.
Oh, there it is. We did manage to catch that one. Just nice up on the inside as we come in through the infield.
Yeah, Atkinson
nice
realising
and clean by Aaron.
Atkinson a pit stop behind, realising that's not really his race, and just deciding to let him through.
Oh, that's right. Atkinson, there's only 3 drivers that haven't pitted yet. That's Atkinson, Shepard, and Christensen. That said, Aaron has 1 pit stop. He may need to stop as well. That's actually that could be a 4-position overtake.
This is true, but if Atkinson's got that amount of awareness in the car, then that would be incredibly impressive. Oberstella pitted in lap 5, as did Brad Hayes, so we suspect that both those drivers may need to pit again. Although
Oberstella is gapping Atkinson pretty hard right now, who looks like he's just pulled into the pits himself. Yeah, there he is there going in. And who's that in front of him that's also pitted?
So Christensen and Shepard, I'm just trying to find him on the track. Christensen's just coming down towards Blanchimont now. He's got Brody Shepard not far behind him.
Brad Hayes, yeah.
So Hayes deciding he can't make it, which is bad news for Oberstella. It's funny, I've got the safety car on my timing screens. It's telling me he's been in pit lane for 37. He's been stopped for 37 minutes 20 seconds on his latest run into pit lane. There you can see the safety car stopped.
And here is our race leader pitting now, Christensen.
And I believe that's Shepard following him in.
So which means that Tao, wherever he is out on track at the moment, is going to re-inherit the lead.
Ash Davis just getting past David Atkinson. David Atkinson finally making his pit stop as well. So that's why Davis able to get past.
It looks like Tao is coming up to... He's just gone through Watchmont now. Where's Christensen? So he hasn't even stopped yet. It looks like, yeah, Tao's definitely going to get the lead back quite comfortably, I think.
Yeah, quite comfortably. Well, that's because he's been driving absolutely superbly, consistently in the 2-minute 16s, and the only driver consistently in the 2-minute 16s.
And
only one driver.
There's Tao. We just saw him. Oh no, here he is now, actually.
Only one driver has able to put in. One other driver has been able to put in a single lap in the 2-minute 16s, and that's Jacob Christensen, who just snuck in there with a 2-minute 16.974. But everybody else not able to do a 2:16. And I've been watching Serrano's lap times, and he's been in there pretty regularly.
So once Christensen gets back up to speed, we'll see just how far behind he is. He was about 5 seconds when he pitted, when Tao pitted, and he's come back out, and it looks like we're nearing 8 seconds and some change. So I think Christensen's really going to need a safety car here.
I absolutely agree. I think a safety car right now would be awesome if you're listening race control. Don't think we'll get one. This isn't NASCAR. We don't do things for entertainment. Well, we do things for entertainment, but not artificial things.
I think the requirements for a safety car to come out here is that a driver actually has to crash, and they have to request a tow, which means they have to crash in such a way that they cannot make it back to the pits under their own steam.
Yeah, it basically means they need to total the car.
Exactly, and while I wouldn't want to see anyone do 45 minutes of a race and crash out, I would like to see a safety car. I'm not gonna lie.
Those two statements aren't going to sit well alongside each other, I'll be honest. I don't think... At the moment, yeah, the race is too spread out at the moment for us to get too much. Actually, we've got Matthew Brunt behind Fitzroy Beaumont. That gap has been pretty stable, but
yeah,
is that 1.5
Fitzroy
seconds?
made that overtake and then has sort of steadily sort of gapped him. So it's definitely advantage Fitzroy in this Brunt-Beaumont duel.
So it's just had Christensen drop down in my timing screens and then shoot back up. So not sure whether he had a momentary disconnect, but he's still out there, lapping along quite nicely. Has built the gap to Brody Shepherd through that pit stop sequence. Stopped in pit lane for a second less. So 1 minute 16, the total pit lane transit time for Christensen, 1 minute 17 for Brody Shepherd, and that gap sat at 6.6 seconds. So Shepherd's going to need to get on his bike if he's going to catch Toby Christensen for second place. But I dare say a podium on debut in the series will make Brody very happy, especially considering how awful his Thursday Night Motorsport went last weekend.
So now that everyone's had a pit stop, we can really just pull up these pit stop times and just sort of assess everybody's individual stop durations. So Jamie Christensen is showing as a half-second pit stop time, which is probably that little blip that he had earlier. So unfortunately we can't get how long he was stopped for, but Towers at 15.1, Brody's at 15.1, Brunt 14.1, Milne 15.7. So it looks like 15 seconds is probably about the duration that we'd expect people to have stopped for.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
So I think the ones to watch in whether or not they'll be able to make it toward the end will be Brunt, Black, Obersteller, and Ash Davis. Yeah, so if anyone is going to putter out, it's going to be those guys.
I don't see how Obersteller can make it to the end. Everybody has pitted with more than 5 laps remaining, and you got to believe Christensen, Shepherd, Atkinson all around their tanks dry. They would have committed to going as long as possible, and they didn't go far enough for 5 laps to get them to the end. So I don't think Obersteller's going to make it unless he's been fuel saving. White or not. So this is David Atkinson with no, he's back. He's battling Oliver Patterson. So he's only 0.3 of a second between them. 2 Ferraris doing battle. The 2 remaining Ferraris, Con Nixon, the 3rd Ferrari driver, was an early casualty after contact with Fitzroy Beaumont and then getting a drive-through.
Now let's have a look at David here, because something happened for this gap to close up a bit between him and is it Brad Hayes?
So it looked like he caught a bit of grass there on the entry to Blanchimont, but got away with it.
So we're coming to the bus stop. Oh, he's just overcooked it a little bit.
That is not the racing line through there. You'll be shocked to hear.
Yeah, okay, and that's just allowed Brad to get right up alongside him.
Oliver.
Oliver.
And nicely done.
Nice, just thank you very much.
Also,
we've just had a move with Obersteller and Grubb.
The Obersteller back on pit lane.
Oh, so this will be the pit stop that we thought he was going to have to make this extra pit stop.
Yeah, I'd say it'll be nice and quick. And he will be stationary for not very long, but transit time's a minute, so it's not going to be a quick pit stop. 2 stops is not the way you want to go around Spa with this pit lane configuration. The penalty for pitting is massive.
As I said, it's about a minute 15 that you lose. So, yeah, who's only stopped for 10.5 seconds? That is a real quick splash. Yeah, that's the definition of a splash and dash. But that's going to knock him all the way back down to 11th or 12th. It's at 12th now. Comfortable 12th. Potentially he can recover to 11th.
Yeah, not far behind Ash Davis, the lone remaining Porsche after both Curtis Bird and Joshua Horton were casualties. Horton, we saw having that incident on lap 1, bringing out the safety car, and then he did come back on track but stopped running soon afterwards. Curtis Bird looks like he stopped on lap 14. Didn't catch why Curtis Bird retired, but retire he did. So let's have a look at our leading contenders. Teos Tassarano, one of only 2 Mercs and the leading Merc. Orlando Black at the second Merc. Jamie Christensen at the leading BMW, 7.4 seconds now ahead of Brody Shepherd, so he's slowly building that gap, about half a second a lap quicker than Brody Shepherd at the moment. Corey Bennett, the lead Lamborghini, in 4th place. David Milne, the 2nd place Lamborghini. Brad Hayes, the back market of the Lamborghinis and at the back of the field currently. And Ash Davis, the lead Porsche. Only Porsche in the field still remaining after Bird and Horton both retired. Oliver Patterson, the lead Ferrari. We saw him get the overtake done on David Atkinson. Connor Nixon was by far the lead Ferrari, but yeah, retiring after receiving a drive-through penalty that ruined his race. So 8 minutes left to go. Where are we looking, Mitch, for excitement to develop over the next 5 minutes?
That's a good one. Everything looks pretty comfortable at the moment. Tao's got 8 seconds on Christensen, who's got 8 seconds on Shepherd, who's got 13 seconds on Bennett, who's got 7 on Beaumont, who's got 1 on Brunt, who's got 3 on Black, with 24 to Grubb, then 11, 8, 12, 6. I think this is going to be it for the remainder of the race, unless we get one of those spicy little safety cars, or someone makes a mistake.
Yeah, the gap between Beaumont and Brunt has been pretty stable, although Brunt was faster on the last lap. So if you can pull a string of laps together, I can see Matthew Brunt renewing hostilities with Beaumont for the end of the race. And that's really the only flashpoint we've got to look forward to over the next 6 minutes. Everything else, like you said, is too stable. But it's the first time they've had to do an hour in this series. It's a difficult track. It's Spa, very easy to make a mistake. Some really high-speed corners. We saw Horton make one mistake, and that was the end of his race. So there is jeopardy everywhere. Whilst it all is looking stable, as the cars get onto older tyres, the fuel's dropping, which is making them want to push. Just maybe.
Okay, I think... sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you here. Because Brunt is starting to catch back up to Beaumont.
Yeah, only a second between them now. Was 1.5 seconds a couple of laps ago. Well within that tow, I would imagine. So that's going to help him even further. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how it develops. Both running the Beamers, so won't be too much of a difference in performance. Of course, it is an open setup, so they might have different setups, which might lead to different straight line performance. In particular, I mentioned straight line performance just because it's so important for raceability. We saw that in other series before, where the car with the better straight line speed, even if it was slightly slow in the corners, able to maintain a position. So it will be interesting to see how this develops. Beaumont, a strong first sector. Oh, but losing time there. 0.8 seconds into the gap now. That's a beautiful camera angle. Really shows the elevation change.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? That's one of the things that's really unique about Spa. is just how much elevation change that there is between the top of the track and the bottom of the track.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge.
Brunt!
Oh, he's off! That's not where you want to be, Brunt. He kept out of the wall, got back on track. Well, I hope get back on track. He's not back on it quite yet. Letting Orlando Black through his fruit as well.
So that's not going to be this is not going to be the safety car that we've been wanting. Oh, how's he done that?
So I had to have a couple of goes at saving it. Did well to keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, the wall is pretty far away there. It's kind of hard. You've got to make some pretty big mistakes to come into contact with that one.
Just goes to show though, can't afford to switch off just because there's no one around you and you've only got 5 minutes of the race to go. Just the 2 laps to go. It's anything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong around here. It is too tricky for you to let your mind wander.
Well, there's only 2 laps left now, I think, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. I mean, that's a gimme for Black. You got to be cheering when that happens. And now it's basically just a matter whether the Brunt can play catch up and claw back 6th position.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order. Those tyres will be a little bit cooked. He's going to have to go a little bit gentle before the next half lap.
And he's just outside the toe here as well, at sort of creeping up on 1.7 seconds here to come up to Kemmel. He's really not going to benefit too much.
Orlando Black with decent pace at this stage of the race as well. High 2.18, similar to Beaumont, which implies similar to Brunt.
So he did get about 2/10 back, but that just could be due to that M4's straight line speed. I suspect he'll have a little demon on his shoulder at the moment.
So go on, Brunt. You can get the position back. Push harder. Ignore the back end sliding out a little bit. It'll help you go faster, Brunt. That's what the demon is saying.
Well, he's back up to 1.1 seconds, and we know Brunt is faster on pace. Let's have a look at where Tao is on track at the moment, because that's going to tell us just how long we've got left in this race, whether or not
he's just coming through the chicane.
It's got 2 minutes 14. Okay, so this is going to be our last lap then. This should be white flag.
Let's see if Barney's doing his job. Do we see a white flag, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think we did. I don't think we did, Mitch.
Well, there's not enough time for him to get back over to do another lap after this. His best time is like 1:16, and he crossed the line with 2 minutes 13 to go.
Well, we'll call it as if it's the last lap, because that's more exciting, and then if we get a second last lap, we'll call that one like the last lap as well. So 1 lap to go for Matthew Brunt to chase down Orlando Black to get back 6th position, 5th position. Looked like it might be in his claws, but got it all wrong behind Beaumont. Now it's a recovery job to try and get past Black. Not going to be close enough going through the chicane. Going to get a lovely slipstream down the Camel Straight though, as long as he's able to stay close. A few Oros in Radion. Bustaner's just got opposition. He's just overtaken Ash Davis. Not sure what's going on there. If there's been an incident, don't see anyone stopped on my timing screen.
I think Ash Davis has had a little bit of an error, but we'll jump to that. Yeah, we'll jump to that now because I don't think Matthew Brunt's going to go for a move here.
Far back.
So we're going to Ash Davis here. He's coming down the hill towards P1. I wonder if we're going to see a similar issue that we saw with Brunt, just a little bit of oversteer on old tires, warm tires, perhaps. Looking tidy as we come up towards the infield.
The Porsches do love a bit of mid-corner oversteer.
Oh, that's exactly what we just saw. That was a bit of mid-corner oversteer there, wasn't it?
Yep, mid-corner oversteers and Porsches are an iconic combo in GT3 land. Tao Serrano now is approaching the checkered flag, and Tao Serrano is going to take the victory. He's just approaching La Source. But will Matthew Brunt get 6th place back off Orlando Black? Orlando Black's backwards on the inside. But he's got an opportunity to get it back as Black. He's just got to throw it up the inside of the chicane and hope he can make it stick.
He's got the toe. If he can keep it planted here through Blanchimont, you know, that move up on the inside of the bus stop could be on.
It certainly could. Let's watch live. Brunt, what's he going to do? Staying nice and wide. Got the back marker there getting in the way.
Oh, beautifully played there. Brunt just keeps it planted. Yeah, sorry, Black just keeps it planted on the apex to stop Matthew from going for that last minute overtake.
Yes, across the line. Alright, so finishing positions. We've got Tao Serrano taking
we've got a couple of drivers out on track, I think. I think Matthew Brunt is still not Brunt.
Say that's not quite correct. This is the Porsche. That's Ash Davis.
No, I think at this point everyone has crossed the line. All right, let's have a look at our finishing positions here.
Okay, so we've got Tao Serrano taking a absolutely dominant victory, just shy of 10 seconds ahead of Jamie Christensen, who takes 2nd place. Really strong drive from Christensen. Brody Shepherd takes a podium on his first time out in the GT3 ANZ ESeries. Corey Bennett gets a strong 4th place. Fitzroy Beaumont takes 5th. Brunt gets 6th from Orlando Black, right at the line. 7th is Orlando Black. Grubbers in 8th. Milne in 9th. And then Lube in 10th. And behind them, Obersteller takes 11th despite pitting twice. Would have been interesting to see what he could have done if he hadn't pitted on at lap 4 and guaranteed a 2-stop race.
Or if he just hadn't had a crash as well.
I mean, that too, that does help. Ash Davis in 12th, Addison in 13th, Atkinson in 14th, Hayes in 15th, and then Bird, Nixon, and Horton were all unclassified.
Also, well, I think we've been a little negligent with our YouTube viewers tonight. Just a big shout out to Ben Nothing, Faulkner, and Birdwave Racing for being in chat with us the whole time. We love having you here. Thank you so much for watching with us. And my apologies for not giving you guys a shout out. You are right, Mr. Faulkner, those rear engine cars.
And do you know who else we love having with us? Drivers. We love having drivers in the commentary box. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the drivers we've got in the waiting room. And as always, Mitch, I'll let you conduct the interviews.
Gentlemen. Firstly, congratulations to all of you for a brilliant race. Tao, I'm going to start off with you. That was a dominant performance that we saw from start to finish. I believe we would call this a grand slam. Is that correct?
Yeah, thanks guys. I just trying to get used to screens after jumping off VR, so I wasn't really too stressed about how it was going. I actually just wanted to make sure I didn't have a crash, so I'm pretty happy with the outcome.
So, go on. Yep.
How is that transition from VR to screens? I imagine that's really difficult.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. A lot of mistakes, like going down into Blanchimont and stuff, just dipping tyres in grass that you never would, because I haven't got that same sort of, awareness of where my car is. So I'm sure it'll come, but it's a bit awkward.
And so I believe, Tao, this puts you firmly in first position in the championship. Earlier on tonight, we were talking about how those reverse grids, despite being what we believe to be the fastest driver in the championship right now, that those reverse grids, you found yourself either getting tripped up, making your way through the pack, or just a couple of unforced errors that sent you back down a little bit. But your closest competition was Connor Nixon. He was only leading you by 2 points going into this. But he bailed out after he got a drive-through penalty earlier in this race. So congratulations. I believe you're now leading this championship.
Oh, awesome. Thanks. I had no idea.
I don't know by how much. I can't do that math on the fly, but this does put you comfortably in front. Behind you is actually Matthew Brunt. And he didn't have such a good race this time round. He finished down in 7th on this one. Do you feel like the instead of having a couple of heats, that not having a reverse grid and having a longer feature race was more beneficial to you?
Yeah, I mean, I probably, in the sense that I could sort of worry a bit less about contact and so on. And especially here with a safety car restart, you just let the car go obviously out the hairpin and you're not really going to have much trouble. I mean, the reverse grids that we had where we were driving probably made it a bit worse because they were a bit harder to pass. So here probably wouldn't have been too bad.
Yeah, Spa is pretty forgiving in terms of getting overtakes done. But I guess you didn't really have to worry about any of that this time round.
Yeah, this is the thing. I would have had to been really careful because obviously I don't want to have an accident with anyone. But I'm not, super confident going side by side yet. So I would have definitely been very, very careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie. Second, congratulations, just to start off with.
Thank you.
So you were 5th, and I think this is going to move you up into, I want to say, 3rd. Maybe 2nd. You could be jumping all the way up into 2nd place in the championship with this.
That would be nice.
So I'm just having a look at our standings from last week. And Aaron Obersteller was 5 points in front of you. Brunt was 13 points in front of you, and then Connor Nixon, and then you were being led by Tao, who was only a couple points behind Connor, but Connor didn't finish, and Aaron finished all the way down in 11th today. So I think potentially that's going to put you up in 2nd place in the championship. Obviously, my word is not gospel, and my back of the napkin math could be wrong, but I will give you an early congratulations for sliding on all the way from 5th to 2nd. That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, that would be nice if that is happening. But, I mean, I'll be fine with 3rd anyway, if I am in 3rd.
So, I want to ask you about qualifying. I was on board with you, and I watched you bail out of a couple of laps early on. If you can remember, was there any particular reason for that?
I don't think I bailed out of any. I think I just had really bad laps.
There was one where I watched you. You came out of the bus stop and you lifted before you came across the line.
I think I only had one good lap, and I might have been out of fuel on that lap. So I don't know, because there was 2 laps I was going for. I had decent times on, and then realised halfway through that I would have run out of fuel. So.
Right, because I felt like when I was looking at qualifying times that they weren't really represented. I think you're about a second behind Tao, and that's just not what we saw in practice. It was a lot closer than that. And I saw that on one lap you got a bit held up as well. It looked like it was a good one, and then you sort of crept up behind. I couldn't tell you which driver it was, but you crept up behind them and then got stuck coming down towards Puon.
No, I think that was Brody in front of me. He was giving me a tow, and then I think he made a mistake and got out of the way. So I don't think he blocked me or anything. That was a good lap.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that sounds right. Because I did watch him on the exit of Puon pull all the way off track and let you by. But it looked like you got held up through the and I can't remember the name of those corners. But it looked like you maybe got stuck behind him through some of those sort of that downhill section.
No, I didn't get stuck behind him. That was the quality lap that put me for P2 when I was behind him.
Okay, all right, fair enough then. So do you think if you'd had the lap that you needed to get, do you think you could have pipped Tao for first? Or do you think second was about what you were going to get? That was what you had in the tank?
I mean, I was aiming for second for the whole race because I don't really expect to beat Tao.
Yep.
So, I mean, second's as best as I'll get.
Well, look, if you came in aiming for second and you finished second behind Teo, then I'd say that's a pretty top-notch performance, and it was a comfortable second too. It was a very comfortable second.
Yeah, it was. I was saving a lot as well. I know Brody was as well. So.
Yeah, I did notice that of all the people out on track, you guys had some of the shortest pit stop times. So Tao had 15.1. I can't see what yours was because it sort of glitched out. Brody had a 15.1, but a lot of other drivers had 20 odd second pit stops. So Bennett had 21, Fitzroy had 24, Black 18, Grubb 26. What did you guys use to calculate your fuel? Because you must be doing something different to everybody else.
I mean, I know Brody went. I think he went full tank because he had the same fuel as me for the whole race. But I went full tank at the start and saved throughout the whole race, and then took about 30-ish litres in the pit stop. I know the Merc and the Merc and Lambo and Porsche and all that take more fuel than BMW, but I was saving throughout the whole race.
Oh, that's perhaps what we saw then, because Corey was one of the guys I name dropped as having a longer pit stop, and he was in the Lambo, so that makes a bit of sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on your second place and what I think is second in the championship as well.
Thank you.
So, Brody, podium on debut. Firstly, congratulations. Secondly, where the hell have you been this whole time?
Yeah, thank you. I haven't been around. I haven't been able to make the first few rounds, and then with Spa coming up this next weekend, thought I'd jump in for this and give it a go and get some practice. It's the first time I've raced the BMW, so need to figure out how the car worked over a longer stint. But it was good fun.
Now, the BMW did look mighty quick here. I've been keeping a pretty good note on the relative pace of the different cars. And the Porsche seems to be the best in corners, and sort of like those medium and high speed corners. And the Ferrari and the BMW look to be the speediest on the straights. So I think you picked a good car to bring to Spa here. Did you feel like it was pretty competitive? I mean, you got third, but is that how you felt?
Felt pretty good. It just felt really stable. Didn't really use its tires. Was good on fuel. The rears started to step out a bit once the tires heated up a bit, but that was the only thing. Other than that, it was just the BMW is a very stable car. It can handle curbs. It can handle everything perfectly. So it was just a safe choice.
And so, when it comes to GT3s, what do you normally drive? Because you mentioned that the M4, so the M3 was this was not necessarily your first race with it, but was this your first league?
That was the actual first race with the BMW.
Oh, okay, first race with the BMW. Okay.
Yep, started practicing on the weekend, and then but normally it's the Lambo, but that's it seemed like a bit of a death trap around Spa, as much as I hate to say it, because the Lambo sounds amazing, but it seemed like a bit of a death trap. So
the Lambo, there were a couple of guys out in the Lambo today. We had Corey Bennett, who came home in fourth. Then we had David Milne and Brad Hayes out in the Lambo, which I thought no one else was going to pick that car up. Because no one had bought it for the first two rounds. So no one bought it for round one. Then Corey bought it in round two and bought himself a podium, I think. And now we see 3 of them in this race. So I think he might have maybe showed everyone that the Lambo wasn't quite the slouch that everyone believed it was. But you normally race that, and you found it was a little twitchy here, or?
Yeah, just the rear like to step out a lot around here. I know it's just weighing where the engine's located and everything. As soon as it starts, it's just all gone. But it just felt, the few laps that I did around here, it just felt very loose. It was still quick. Corey was really quick in it, and I don't think if he hadn't have made a slight mistake and spun it, I don't think I would have been able to get past him. But it seemed like a very solid car.
If you thought that the Lambo was good but a bit twitchy, and Corey has decided to run with that Lambo, and that twitchiness has cost him the position, then I would say that that's yours on merit, because you made the decision, despite the fact that Corey made a mistake, you made the decision to pick the more stable car to bring here.
Yeah, I still lost it at that same corner that Corey lost it up at a couple laps later. Not sure exactly what happened, but the rear started to overheat.
Which corner was that?
Just before No Name. I don't know the exact name. The long right-hander just before No Name, before Pujon. It just, going through there mid-corner for a few laps, that rear kept wanting to step out. So I tried experimenting throughout the race with a few different lines to find a bit more stable. And you found
something that was a bit more compliant?
Yeah, there was a few different lines I tried, just trying to experiment and see what was actually quick around the track. I tried at a few different spots as well, just to see how the car worked and what could be quick and what couldn't be. Just to try and get quicker, because obviously I'm still not quite as fast as I need to be to compete with Jamie and Tao up front, but I did my best.
And now that you're here, and you've sort of like stamped your name on this series, do you expect us to see you running at the front more? Do we think? Well, do you think you've got enough pace to be challenging Christensen or even Tao for podiums?
Probably not for the win, but I might. Depending on what I'm up to for the next couple of weeks, I'll try and make it to the next few rounds and just try and see what I can do. It's just getting back into GT3 racing, and yeah, just trying to see.
I know we had you in Formula Ford last week.
Yeah, I'm here for Formula Ford. We don't talk about last week's Formula Ford race. That didn't happen. This one was definitely a lot cleaner, but I'll try and make it to these races, but it's just depending on what I've got going on.
Do you think you had more spins in the Formula Ford last week, or laps around Spa here tonight? It's quite pretty long.
Oh no!
Laps. You don't get that many laps.
You didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, no.
You invite this man into our commentating booth, and then you do him like that, Liam.
I'd like to file a formal complaint against Liam.
Yeah, look, we'll get you into mediation with Liam now, and we'll have to sit down with HR
and after Brody carried me through the last Enduro series we did together, I can't really I don't really have much of a leg to stand on.
You are quite accurate on me having more spins though last week. That race was not my best showing.
I kept expecting to see you disconnect. I'll be honest.
I got stuck on the curb and couldn't move, so I think that counts as a disconnect.
Oh, that's right. I remember watching that. I'm like, oh, he's just sitting there. Oh, and he's still just sitting there. And you didn't tow. You just sat there and accepted your fate for the rest of the.
Yeah, the rear wheels.
This is my life now.
Yeah, the rear wheels were slightly off the dirt, so it just wouldn't grip.
The one of those cases where if you were physically in the car, you'd be able to just like lean back.
You walk yourself backwards and forwards, right?
Yeah. So tonight was definitely a lot better showing.
Much
GT3 around Spa was a lot easier. I like this car a bit more than the Formula Ford at the moment.
Fantastic. And is this the one you're gonna take into? So if we have you next fortnight, because next week's Formula Ford, but if we've got you back for GT3s in a fortnight, are you gonna keep driving the M4, or are you gonna go to the Lamborghini or another car, or are you just gonna decide what one you think is best and take that?
We'll see what happens. I might keep with the BMW. I might go to the Ford and give that some love.
Oh, the Ford.
Go to the Ford. I want to see the Ford.
Do it.
See what the Ford can do around whatever track's next.
Yeah, I'm going to be the little devil on your shoulder here that's going, do it. Yes. burn the school down. Drive the Ford.
Do what no one else is brave enough to do.
Exactly. Corey bought the Lambo and put it on P3, and now you're going to bring the Ford and do the same, right?
P1. Ford's that
P1.
good.
Okay, you've heard it here. Brody has laid the gauntlet down. He's bringing the Ford next fortnight to GT3, and he's going to come home in P1.
It's going to be a Ford's to be reckoned with.
Bagged and tagged, Brody. Well, congratulations on your debut podium in GT3, and thank you so much for racing and for coming into the interview room with us as well.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for putting on a good night, and it was a good night of racing.
You're very welcome. Back to you, Liam.
Yeah, and little does Brody know that next round is Road Atlanta, so a devilishly tricky track to try and tame the Ford around. So I think, we'll see what was better, your Formula Ford round last week or your around Road Atlanta in a fortnight's time. I think it'll be close running. Anyway, moving on. We've got more action coming up for you this week with NASCAR returning tomorrow. It's New Hampshire, it's short oval, so we'll have two 40-lap races around there, and of course qualifying beforehand, where we'll start the stream with Nixon and Oberstella providing the commentary, as always, on a Thursday night. And then some interviews post-race with any of the drivers that managed to survive. It's been a little bit of a crash fest, the NASCAR so far. So do tune in. You're going to get some very entertaining commentary and plenty of action.
And I want to interject here and say, again, it's not too late. If you are watching and you are considering joining in, if you pay your membership, there is time for you to race. These races are not fixed. You can join at any time. So if you're thinking about it, get involved. Come join us, because we would love to have you.
Yes, and of course your membership gets you entry to all of the races that ANZ ESeries provides. So if you are watching this because you're normally a GT3 runner, you're not doing anything tomorrow night, why not have a one-off in the NASCAR? It's great fun. The short overs are very quick to learn. Likewise, if you're one of our Formula Ford racers watching what's happening in GT3, why not give NASCAR a go? You might not be a fan of watching the oval racing, but you might find driving it quite different. I certainly did. It really opened my eyes when I first drove some ovals in iRacing. So if you haven't done it, it's a great place to get your feet wet and see what happens. Of course, we'll be back with you next week when we bring you the next round, the third round of the Formula Ford Championship, which is always a thriller. Until then, take care of yourself, and we will see you soon.